guys, how's it going? It's Al, week 11, and I've got the lineup builder show for you. We're going to talk about everything that there is to talk about with my Twitch chat. It's a fantasy football AMA, if you will. We'll talk about cash games. We'll talk about tournament suggestions. We'll talk about specific price ranges. It's a very ugly and weird slate, and it could get uglier. Now, look, right now, the Buffalo-Cleveland game was moved to Detroit. However, there's about, 75 feet of snow on the ground in Buffalo, and the Bills didn't leave Buffalo to go to Detroit yesterday because it's tough to move an entire football franchise and box up all the gear when you weren't set to have a road game. So that might have taken them like 24 hours to get everything packed up and ready to go. So like they didn't leave yesterday, and now we don't know if they're going to be able to leave. So like this may not even be a game on the slate. It's up in the air. Don't worry, I'm sure that a lot of people are going to remind me and let me know in the replies, like Cosplay Shefties, that hey, game's moved, just like yesterday. Hey, game's in Detroit. The game's moved to Detroit. It's in Detroit now. Game's in Detroit. They moved that game. It's in Detroit. Guys, it's a snapshot. The videos are a snapshot. We're recording this at 10:21 a.m. Pacific time on Friday. If stuff comes out at like 2 p.m. on Friday after this show has been recorded and packaged and uploaded to YouTube, we know. It'll be all right. We'll discuss it in Discord. Come join us there. And let's get to the video. Let's go.
He's a legend.
The Week 11 Smiz Gang Listener League is posted. It is not in the DraftKings lobby. You have to go to smizzle.tv/links if you want to find it. It is right there in the link tree along with everything else. 4,000 entries, $10 to enter, 3 max, absolutely no rake. The best tournament that is out there on DraftKings. We may not have one next week because of the split schedule for Thanksgiving. There's, the weekend slate doesn't start tracking until like Friday. Everybody goes to the Thanksgiving one. Maybe we'll do a Thanksgiving slate for the Listener League. It might be a little bit smaller. I have to discuss this with DraftKings, but the Week 11 League is up. Make sure you get in there. I will shout out the top 10 winners on the Monday show on the Fantasy Football channel. So make sure you get your entries in there. Take advantage of the no rake tournament. And let's bring in the chat because they're the stars of this show. They're the ones who ask me everything that we have to do. If the game is canceled, don't play 150 Allen doubles. Yes, I would suggest that is my biggest suggestion on this slate. If Buffalo versus Cleveland is moved to Monday night and then therefore triggering them moving the Thanksgiving game from Thursday to Friday, don't play the Buffalo players on the main slate for week 11 because they won't be a part of the scoring. Just like the usual information, if somebody is injured, don't play them. If they're not on the slate, don't play them. But we're going to act on this show because nothing has changed as though the game is a part of the slate. Because there is that possibility that if Buffalo just can't get there, that they could move this game to Monday night, which would trigger something else because there's an NFL rule. They don't want to do that. There's an NFL rule that teams must have 3 days of rest before they can play again. Right? So if you play on Sunday, you could play a Thursday game. But if you play on Monday, you cannot play a Thursday game. And so they have a Thursday game on Thanksgiving. The league does not want to move the Thursday game because that would mean moving 2 games. And they've already moved this 1 game. That would mean moving a game 2 times to force another game to move as well. They want to impact as little things as possible. So ideally, this game goes off on time in Detroit on Sunday. But if the Bills can't get there, I don't know. So there's definitely a possibility. It's a non-0% possibility that this game gets moved off the main slate, moves to Monday night. We have a 2-game Monday night slate, and then they move Thursday's Bills game off the Thanksgiving slate, which would jack up a whole lot of things on DraftKings for Rainmakers. It would screw up. Like we'd have, people are like, oh yeah, we have football on Thursday, then football on Friday. It's like, oh, it's the worst. Hopefully they can plow their way to Detroit, the Bills. What are the best comps for a Bills-Browns stack if it happens? Like, what are the best stacks in that game? You'd imagine they're all the other way. They're not. Like, it is. You can imagine whatever you want, but it is confirmed that they are still in Buffalo. They have not left because they cannot. They had to leave yesterday if they were going to leave at all, and they didn't leave yesterday. Unless they're just planning on getting there on Sunday morning, which there's still going to be, like, it's not getting better. I don't know. I don't work for the NFL. I know as much as you guys do as far as the day-to-day functionings of the NFL. I'm not a news breaker. I say that I'm a news reactor. So I'm not Adam Schefter. He's got the lines into everything. Schefter tweets something, then I react to what Schefter says, right? Like all I can do is live in a world that's based on fact. And then I take that fact and then I interpret it to convert it into what we can do with those facts. Right now, Buffalo's still there. The Bills are still in Buffalo as of the time of this recording. Send in the sled dogs. Yes. Chat and I were talking before we went live that like it's going to be like a day after tomorrow and they're going to have like snowshoes walking. Hopefully they don't fall in through the glass roof of a mall on their way to Detroit. What are my favorite stacks now for the weekend? Same ones as yesterday, minus if the Bills are on the slate, then yes, the Bills. If the Bills are not on the slate, then not the Bills. Top stacks went up on Thursday. The clear two best, the TLDR is Dallas and Minnesota. They're the two best. Do I like McLaurin this week? I like McLaurin more anytime that Carson Wentz is not his quarterback. So McLaurin's done a lot better because McLaurin has had a greater percent of the market share, right? It's not because McLaurin's doing anything differently, so to speak. He's just better because he's better. Jonathan Taylor and Devontae Smith as a decent secondary stack. I like that. I really do. I do like that a lot. They could just play the game on Madden as a tribute to Madden. I mean, they could do that. Like, it would be kind of like Troy. Remember that movie with Brad Pitt? Like how they battled back in the day. Instead of going to full-on war, just have your champion against our champion. So like the Bills would pick their best Madden player and the Browns could pick their best Madden player and they could play each other on the video game, and then whichever team wins gets the dub. Pick your champion. No risk of injury either that way, or danger with travel. I think that's the best way to go. Who would be the Bills' Achilles when it comes to Madden 23? Favorite value wide receiver for large field GPP? I don't know. The value wide receivers are a hot mess. It's not impossible, but it is very difficult to sort through value to kind of pick the guys that you want. There's a few guys in that range, right? There's a few guys in that range. Let's take a look at them. Come down here. Let's go sub 4,500, right? So you've got Van Jefferson in this range, Khalif Raymond, Terrace, fluctuating. I think a lot of people are going to be on Paris Campbell because of the last few games that he has played with Matt Ryan under center. These two games were Ellinger under center, Matt Ryan under center in week 10, Matt Ryan under center, Matt Ryan under center. Like the three of those games, the last three games, 32 targets, 18 fantasy points, 23 fantasy points, 20.6 fantasy points. Plays mostly in the slot in those situations. He is probably going to be one of the three most popular sub 4,500 wide receivers. Nico Collins will be another one coming off of a 10 target performance last week. And Ben Skowronek will be the other one. Because the 30% plus of the market share that Cooper Kupp has taken up for the Rams is now gone. No one player is going to scoop up all of that. You're going to see it spread between Tyler Higbee, Ben Skowronek, Allen Robinson, and Van Jefferson. So all of them are going to rise to some degree. Is Ramondre Stevenson almost a must-play in small field GPPs and cash? I think that Ramondre Stevenson is an absolutely strong play this weekend and has been for a few weeks. Lamar just got listed questionable. So, like, there's no designation in between. They eliminated the probable tag a couple of years ago. Oh, yeah, DPJ. Like, there's more, right? Like, DPJ's in that range, but I think he's going to be sub 5% this week. I don't think many people are going to play him. And, like, the more I talk about Browns and Bills on this video, the more cosplay Shefties are going to pop into the replies down below. Stevenson, even with Harris back. He's been back. Harris has been back. Stevenson's the guy. Harris has not been out for the last 6 weeks. Like, there's no probable tag anymore. So, like, if you miss any part of practice, they said Lamar's going to start. Right, but I'm still explaining. So, like, anytime you miss any part of practice, you have to give them a tag, right? It has to. So, like, the only tag that you can give is questionable now. There's no more probable. It used to be like doubtful, like out was 100% out. Doubtful was like 75% they're not going to play. Questionable was 50-50. Probable was like they are probably going to play. So like 25% chance they sit. And no tag meant they're playing. But now they've eliminated that, and it just everything escalates immediately to questionable, and the public just immediately clutches their pearls. Lamar Jackson is questionable. He's fine. He's gonna play. But they have to tag him or they get fined by the league. Your tag status is probable. My status is day-to-day. I am day-to-day, but then again, aren't we all? Are there any good bargain running backs this week? Define bargain. Like, I need ranges. Lamar is sneaky this week. Nobody looking at him. So the question is, can you stack Lamar, or do you have to treat Lamar as though he's Justin Fields? Under 5K. The floor is 4,500. So no, nothing under 5K. Sub 6K running backs, they're all a crapshoot. They're all bad. Kenyon Drake is in that range. Gus is back, so he may not get the amount of volume that he was getting before. Deontay Foreman, they are 13-point underdogs. So when they play a close game, he gets this sort of volume, which is outstanding. When they get throttled like they did against Cincinnati, he gets this sort of volume because he's not going to get very used in the passing game at all. So you're reliant on him getting 25 opportunities on the ground. All of these are shaky, mostly based on their price. Devin Singletary, if the game goes, you have touchdown upside, but not 20 carry upside. The best here, look, Harris is been playing week 8, week 7, week 5. Like, he's been there, but Stevenson has taken over the main gig, even in those weeks that he was there. Melvin Gordon III, no. Herbert on IR, no. McKissick is out. So this is with McKissick out too. So you could get a week out of him specifically against Houston. I think he's probably one of the best ones at 5,600. Najee Harris, 5,500. Pardon me. Nobody's going to play him. At least you know you're going to get volume. You should get 20 opportunities and should get usage in the passing game. The game just has a really low total. But are we saying that a player that gets 20 touches can't get 20 points? Like, he could break a long run that ends up as being a touchdown and get 4 catches, get you a 20-point day. Like, it could happen. Probability of it happening is not high, considering that he has not scored over 15 fantasy points once this season, but it doesn't mean he can't do it. And then you've just got a bunch of kind of stuff. Like, sub 6K is just brutal. Most of the plays are between 6,100 at David Montgomery, who I believe will be extremely popular, and then all the way up. Do I think Calcaterra is the most interesting Philly tight end? I have no idea. Just like I had no idea about, like, again, it's a crapshoot. If you're picking a Philadelphia tight end, it's just like when you were trying to pick a Detroit Lions tight end a few weeks ago. There's no way I could latch onto one and say, this one is the one. What about Brian Robinson against Houston? Brian Robinson and Gordon don't get a ton of usage. I love the way that Brian Robinson looked in the last game against Philly. And Philly has been really bad against the run, but it's not like he's been efficient. Robinson looks flashy when he runs, but he's averaged 3.3, 3.4, 2.5, 3.7, 3.5 yards per carry. The league average is like 4.5. Rushing efficiency is way up this year, and he's been getting a ton of volume, but not been doing great. Like, not to make light of it, but like, he got shot in the leg twice, guys. He looks strong. He runs through contact, all of that, but like, he kind of looks like, for those of you who are old like me, he looks like Eric Redd, which is like 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Does O-line quality affect rushing efficiency? I mean, yeah, to some degree. Some of it is on the O-line, and some of it is on the player. Like, yards before first contact is an O-line stat. Partially, it's also a running back stat. Some running backs run really hard and hit a hole fast, and they don't get somewhere. But, like, some guys are more patient and turn, like, nobody ever ran for more yards for loss than Barry Sanders. Also, Barry Sanders, like, arguably is one of the top 2 or 3 running backs of all time. In my opinion, he's the greatest of all time. And I say that, all apologies to Jim Brown and, fellow Syracuse guy, me and Jim Brown, we're same. But like, Barry Sanders he defied physics. He was otherworldly. If Mark Andrews is out, does Isaiah likely become Lamar's top target? I believe that we've seen that be the case. Yeah. Andrews practices today. I think they have to get both of them on the field. I think that both of those guys have to be on the field together, for that team to operate properly moving forward in the second half of the season in the absence of Bateman. Like, it can't just be a next man up situation. Your 2 best pass catchers are tight ends. Now, that's not great in terms of field stretching, but you have to do it. Any good punt tight ends on DraftKings? It's the same guys. Like, every tight end's kind of a punt tight end right now. It's all the same guys at that low price range that people are going to be looking at. Like, there's nothing that I'm really interested in. You could get nuts and try and find one of these guys, Stoll, Calcaterra, Jackson. Like, this is roll the dice on whichever one you want, right? We'll find out Sunday which one of us is right about which one is the guy. The other tight ends, like at the 3,500 range, likely at 3,600, Hurst at 3,500, Dawson Knox, if the game goes at 3,200, has touchdown upside, but not all that much else. I think that most people are going to fall into this range. Higbee at 4,000, Njoku at 3,900, Dulcich at 3,800, Moreau at 37. I think 35 to 4,000 is where the bulk of people are going to be. Schultz, Kyle Pitts for a tournament is fantastic. Hawkinson, if you want to get elite. Corey Davis out again? Yes. Corey Davis was announced out earlier this morning, which solidifies Wilson at 4,900 as one of the best sub 5K values on the slate. Elijah Moore out of the slot this week, allegedly. What do I think about double tight end in cash and or GPP? Yeah, I talked about that the other day. Double tight end is extremely viable now because DraftKings pricing is terrible. So it's one of those weeks where you have to bring that into play, which is, it sucks. Is Kamara less in play because of the O-line? No. Kamara's Kamara. Is there a double tight end combo you like better than others? Not particularly. I hate double tight end. I can't stand double tight end. Double tight end is like the worst. For GPP, thoughts on running Fields naked and bring it back with 2 Falcons? So generally, you guys know the philosophy of, we look to correlate. We look to correlate through the quarterback because when a quarterback has a really big day, it's generally attached to them being extremely efficient through the air. And then they can contribute something on the ground. But generally speaking, it's because they throw the ball 35, 40 times. They have a whole lot of completions and a bunch of touchdowns. But taking a look at Justin Fields and the way that he's doing things this year, the way the Bears are doing things this year because of the lack of talent in their pass catcher core, their wide receiver room, everything is flowing through Justin Fields essentially as an RB2 sort of usage, but RB1 with an exclamation point efficiency. 13 carries for 147, 15 carries for 178. Red Dot, thank you for the 24 months. Chat, that divides by 12. Y'all know what to do. 14 carries in week 7 for 82. 12 carries for 88. His yards per carry is stupid because of his big playability and how much when he takes off, he's gone. And Atlanta plays a ton of man-to-man coverage, which is awful when you're playing against a quarterback who runs the football. You want your guys in zone where they're looking into the backfield. If he takes off, they can react. But if their back is turned to a quarterback who is going to run right up your heels, you have no way to turn around and react. So another big play is not off the table for somebody like Justin Fields this week. And the total in that game is 49.5, which the Falcons have the 3rd highest implied team total on the main slate. And they're favored by 3 over the Bears. That puts the Bears at 23.5 in this game. Bills are 28.5. We'll see if the game goes. This is post move. I had to redo all the totals on this game and all the things for the projections because of the Bills game now being indoors, not outdoors, no weather, and on a neutral site. Ravens 27.5 is the 2nd highest team total. The Falcons are the 3rd highest team total on the slate. Imagine that. The freaking Falcons. But Justin Fields just does not throw the ball. And that's not a Justin Fields stat. This attempts is not a Justin Fields stat. That's attributed to the offense that they're running, and the only way that they can be as successful as they can be because of the lack of talent in their wide receiver room. Overall, no alpha, nobody who commands a ton of targets or can stomach getting that many targets. This is how they have to play the game. If we're going to throw it, who the hell are we going to throw it to? He's been very efficient the last few games, but 17 completions, 12 completions. It's very difficult to pick out which guy that you want to stack him with. Now, they only really have 3 guys, right? So if you're playing Justin Fields, they have 1, 2, and then 3. Okay? These are the 3 guys that they have. The last few games, 13 targets for Kmet over 2 games. That's fine, but now he's 4,100. He's got 4 touchdowns the last 2 games. Most of his production is tied to that. Take these touchdowns away, you have an 11-point day and you have a 10-point day. So he's completely touchdown dependent because they don't throw the ball enough for the volume to make it worthwhile. No different with Claypool, right? 8 targets in 2 games that he's played with the teams. And Mooney, the last couple of weeks, 12 targets, but there's no volume to make this worthwhile. It's very difficult for them to get to a 100-yard bonus, have 2 guys that are going to have 10 catches to really get you to a point where you can accentuate it. So I think that if you want to play Fields, it is extremely viable to play Fields as a part of a secondary stack, something we don't normally do. This is a massive rule break where you say, look, I'm going to play Justin Fields because I want to have access to Justin Fields. And in my Justin Fields lineups, I don't need a pass catcher with him. And I will have at least one. I'm not saying I'm doing this. I'm saying you could build a group that says I'm going to have at least one of Kyle Pitts, Cordero Patterson, Drake London, Zakay, whatever, right? This is your group of players that you're going to have in your Justin Fields lineups. In case this game kind of goes, you have that. You could say exactly 2. Pair Justin Fields with 2 of the guys on the other team. However, the Bears are also going to be in a different situation where I think that at running back this week, David Montgomery is going to be somewhat chalky. I don't know exactly what percentage he's going to project at. I'm sure if you look at whatever projection set you're looking at, they're going to have already some number for him. Let's say between 16 and 35. It's a wide range right now. I think it's going to be closer to the 30 to 35 spot because of how starved we are for value, and he is going to be the only guy who gets volume. Ignore all of this and ignore all of this because all of this is gone. All of this is on IR now. So a path to like 25 opportunities is there. 20 to 25 opportunities is there for David Montgomery. I'm not going to stack Montgomery with Fields. They're diametrically opposed. But I'm not against going with, like I said, those Fields to Patterson lineups. Fields to Pitts lineups. I know you guys hate Pitts. Fields to London lineups, if that's the way that you want to do things. And using Montgomery as a bring back if you're stacking Mariota, if you want to go and do that. Can both Fields and Montgomery work for cash? For cash, yes. I think that's fine if that's a route that you want to go. But for tournaments, you're definitely capping your ceiling. I said that they're pricing players to hurt the stacking. That's just a philosophy. Call it a theory. Would I consider breaking that strategy unless more stack value is there? I kind of just said that. Like, you still have to look for correlation. I think that DraftKings, this is not proven by anything, but it's a data company and they know what they're doing. They've really jacked up the prices the last few weeks because there has been kind of a solved way to attack tournaments to get people to get your lineups to overweight the top 1%, to overweight the top 5%, to give yourself more chances every single week at winning the Millionaire Maker or any tournament. And so if you're a company and you want to slow down the efficiency of the money flow from squares to sharps so that the squares get more run and the sharps have a less efficient way of having the money move up the chain, which is always going to happen in a skill-based game, the better players are going to win over time. So if you make it so the lineup building is tougher or forces you away from that path and makes it more random, like the pricing has done right now by moving all of these cheap wide receivers up to more expensive prices so that you can't just go have two wide receiver ones going up against each other. It's very difficult to do and feel good about the rest of your lineup. So they've priced it so that everybody's got to make these uncorrelated lineups in order to get there, which also is forcing everybody onto the same plays, and getting to less populated plays is giving up now so much more in terms of projection, in terms of median points, in terms of ceiling points, because it's just making it harder to be contrarian. So everybody funnels onto the best cash game plays, and the best cash game plays, if they hit, you just win everything. D Jones for cash. Yeah, I think he's in the mix. Wanted to confirm for Rainmaker lineup builds, you still correlate stacking when creating a lineup? Yes, because correlation still matters. And in Rainmakers, salaries don't matter. There are no salaries in Rainmakers. There are also, there's no salaries in Rainmakers, and there's no entry fees in Rainmakers. So stack away, like taking a look at what I got in Rainmakers this week. Stack, showdown lineups, double stack, bring back, single stack, bring back, only have a possibility for a single stack, bring back, single stack, bring back. Actually, Raiders onslaught, considering Josh Jacobs in that one. So I stack every week in Rainmakers, like as much as I possibly can. Now this lineup is my Justin Fields lineup because I have a Saquon Barkley Rainmaker tier. This is a superstar, and I prefer non-superstar running backs personally because it allows me, most of the best stacks have a superstar in them, whether it's the quarterback or one of the wide receivers, somebody's a superstar. So like AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts is his superstar. So I have these one-offs that I have to wrap around Saquon Barkley, who's the superstar. I have to find ways to get there. So this is my non-correlated lineup built around, well, I guess it is correlated. See, I got that one-off, right? Fields to Patterson. But it's, and I did correlate. Look at me. I'm so sharp. Saquon Barkley to Amon-Ra, Justin Fields to Cordero Patterson. So I'm still looking to correlate through secondaries, but when you have that superstar running back, it makes it harder. That's the one that'll win. I hope so. I want to win stuff. Rainmakers has just been I just print money every slate with Rainmakers. A little bit of Rainmakers money or a lot of Rainmakers money. I've basically been winning on showdown slates even if I don't have much. Like last night on Thursday night, I didn't have a lineup that I felt comfortable putting in the Fiat Frenzy. I had a Derrick Henry legendary, so I made a Derrick Henry at captain lineup. He was the optimal captain. That kind of carried me. I had a Treylon Burks. I threw that in there. I had a Westbrook Akine, he was in that lineup. I didn't have either of the quarterbacks, so I put in a thing where I could get a Rainmakers pack. And we happened to bink. I'm going to make a shorts out of it. Go look at the short on the channel. I happened to bink the Jalen Waddle 1 of 9 out of that pack. So like that turned into a very massive win for me in that tournament. But yeah, I looked like I'm winning something all the time in Rainmakers because of the 0 entry fees. The entry fees are just the cards. And then I just get a whole lot of play out of them. And however they do, I end up getting money added basically every week. Every main slate, every showdown slate without adding more money to the pot. CD, Paris, Wilson, solid cash game wide receivers. I think that's going to be, if you're going to pay up, it's either CD or Amon-Ra St. Brown. One or the other. Did we discuss cash core? I don't know that there really is one right now is kind of the problem. We can go over it. I have not built my cash game lineup. I have a dummy lineup in there right now. So a lot of things are going to change possibly on this slate. We just mentioned it wide receiver. I think it's a value wide receiver day. I don't know what I think is the optimal route just yet. I do think that if we're building a cash game lineup right now, I think Paris Campbell's in it. I think that it's also possible that you could say Skoranic's in it, although I don't know. I haven't made up my mind on him yet. Campbell's in. And then Wilson's in. Wilson was already considered to be there in my opinion. And then with Davis out, he's a lock. He's in there because we can't find value. That leaves us with 6,100. Find a cheap defense. Why did it scroll down on me? Find a cheap defense, plug that in, fine. If you want to pay up, you can pay up, whatever. You're going to have some money this week. Cash game quarterbacks. Fields is still a monster. It's Fields, it's Dak, or it's Jones. But I think you can fill that in later. At running back, I think it's Montgomery and Stevenson. And then figure the rest out. You got 21,800. But that's kind of where it is. That's kind of where we're at. And you could shuffle off of this. You can say, I don't need Skoranek, right? And I want to get I want to get these two in the lineup, right? I want to get him, and I want to get Amon-Ra St. Brown. Okay, well, that's going to lead you in a different route. Now you got to pick a tight end and a quarterback. You have 11,000. If you say, I really want to pick one of these guys, I think this is probably the way. I think this is probably right now the way. You're going to get 10 targets here. You're going to get around 10 targets here in the fastest paced game of the week. He's been really solid. He's been really solid with Matt Ryan. Loads of targets. Like I was saying earlier with Damian Harris, look at all the games that Damian Harris was there in this game. He got 23 opportunities. Damian Harris was there in this game. He got 19 opportunities, including 7, 7, 8. 7 targets, 7 targets, 8 targets, 5 targets since week 6. It's Ramondre's world right now. 5 targets plus in every game except the game against Detroit where he ran for 161. Ramondre is the guy that's getting you a ton. 4 wide receiver. It feels like it, but I don't think it's totally necessary. You could go another route if you want. There's plenty of running backs that are available that project. Josh Jacobs projects to have a very good point per dollar right now. I think people are going to go towards Pierce. Ezekiel Elliott is trending to play this weekend. So now Tony Pollard is kind of on the GPP list and off the cash game list at 6,500. But that's kind of where it starts. Am I off Allen and Cash because of the injury? No. I'm off Allen Cash because I don't know if that game's going to get played. And I can get enough out of the other quarterbacks at a cheaper price. As always, play whoever you want. I'm just telling you, these are my thoughts. This is the way that I'm looking at things. If you disagree with me, that is what you are well within your rights to disagree with anything that I say. You're the one who has to click submit on your lineups. So own that and make the decisions that are right for you. Is it not in Detroit now? Yeah, allegedly the game will be taking place in Detroit. I hope it does. The thing is, for a game to take place, both teams have to be present. And right now, the ability for the Bills to be present at that game is in question. So if the Bills are there and they play the game, awesome. Can everybody in chat get $100 if I win the Millionaire Maker? I already made that. We tried that. It didn't work. I'm done with that. We tried that. If I had won the lottery for $2 billion, I would have given y'all who were here that day a lot of money, but I didn't win. We want to keep trying. We want as many opportunities at yeah, you had to have the moment badge. See, Frostbite knows. Wow, Frostbite, you have a tier 2 moments badge? The moments badges tier up? I didn't know that. Frost, we had a moment earlier before the stream, before we started recording. On the stream before the recording when I pulled the Jalen Waddle Rainmakers card. I have made a lot of moments. That was technically a moment. Anybody that was here for that Jalen Waddle poll, that was nuts. Like, this is just a weird slate, guys. It was already a weird slate. It got worse when the snow started. It got better when they moved the game to Detroit, because then we got Bills, unfettered Bills. I like unfettered Bills. Unfettered Bills offense is great because indoors on turf, great spot. Always can stack the Bills. Great. And now the Bills may not be able to leave Buffalo. So like now that's we're hokey pokeying with that game. I hate that we hokey pokey with that game all week. You put your Bills game in, you take the Bills game out, you put the Bills game in, then it's snowy all about. MN Nice Cards, thank you for the 23 months. If Bills Browns goes, do I still like DPJ? Definitely. Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip. Yes, exactly. Von Miller is streaming Call of Duty. Wait, is he streaming right now? Where do you see your moment? I don't know. Somewhere on like settings. You can tell it what badge on Twitch you want it to show in the chat. The Snokey Pokey. Wow. I love that nobody else has any questions, because you know what that means? If nobody else has any questions, that means that you guys already went to the link tree and you clicked right here on Best Buys on ESPN, and you noticed that my article is already up for this week and have read through it and have put to memory all of the questions that you might have about the players that I like and in what situations they're in. Go over to ESPN Plus and read Best Buys today. That was a good on-air read, don't you think? Worst case scenario would be the Bills fly out 12 p.m. on Sunday. So I know that this is a DFS show, and like, y'all want to talk, like, there's nothing really to talk about. The slate is the slate. The thing that is mucking everything up is that the Bills play on Thursday. The Bills playing on Thursday makes everything terrible because of the league rule that you must have 3 off days between a game. So for them to play the Thanksgiving game on Thursday, they have to play a game on Sunday. We've talked nakeds and doubles, but our skinnies now more played. The rules are off. Break all the rules. DraftKings has made it so that the salaries are so tight and so tough that it's dumb. That, like, I want to correlate as much as I possibly can, but I also don't want to get so far off the optimal that it is no longer a viable lineup. So we have to, like, do a thing. Well, they have to play on Friday. Well, if they play on Monday night, yes, they would not be allowed to play on Thursday. And I'm sure the league does not want to move a game off of Thursday because of the ad revenue that they bring in for that Thursday game, although it will create another island game. But just like, look at it through this lens. In football, when a player gets hurt, it's a next man up league. You don't take somebody that is healthy and has a job. Your slot receiver gets hurt. You don't take one of your outside wide receivers, move him to the slot, and then take somebody off the bench to fill this other job on the outside. You change one person's job, not 2. You have your backup slot guy. When Rondale Moore was out for the Cardinals, Dortch moves right into the slot. You don't take one of your outside guys and then say, we're going to slide him inside, and then have another guy come in the outside. And so, like, it's not, you don't take the next guy that the public thinks has a higher Madden rating, like Andy Isabella, and move him into the slot because you think he's a better athlete than Dortch, because that doesn't make sense either. The next man up in the slot is the next man up in the slot. Now look at that through the lens of the league. They have to play that game on Sunday night if they want to play that game on Thursday. Moving this game to Monday creates another nightmare with a second previously unrelated game. So we are going to have to monitor that situation and see what happens. I need all the viewers on YouTube to trust me when I say, by the time you know what is going on and have put it in the replies, I already know. I have TweetDeck on my computer. It's right there. It comes across in chronological order. As soon as there is an announcement about that game, I'm a no. Well, since we have to break the rules in DFS this year, so they can too. Play 2 games. Just play a doubleheader. Play 2 games on Thanksgiving, back to back. We'll know by Saturday, 4 p.m. if the Sunday game's going to go. We might know by today. I mean, if the Bills can't get there tomorrow, it's probably a no-go, but who knows? So a small slate of 11 games could become a 10-game slate. A slate that has games that have really low totals. A lot of them, right? Steelers Bengals is 40.5. Ew. Raiders Broncos 41.5. Gross. And the Broncos have the best cornerback in the league, arguably, to deal with Devontae Adams. So, like, takes away their best player, at least reduces his efficiency. And they made Derrick Henry into a human the week before. So also Josh Jacobs, we don't know. Rams against the Saints, 39.5. Jets against the Patriots, 38. Texans Commanders, 40. Like, there's so many Browns Bills. Panthers Ravens, 41. And like, the Panthers have a team total of like 13. The Vegas is expecting 13 points. We have an 11 game slate with 6 of the games that just have no touchdown expectation whatsoever. And we're picking value plays from those games. Wilson, Ramondre. Like, yeah, these are the cash game plays. The teams that we're not expecting to score. This week sucks. And DraftKings made it worse with the pricing. So it double sucks. Does Paris Campbell have the best matchup in the slot against Philly to second? I mean, yeah. He plays the slot for the most part. Slay and Bradbury stay on the outside. So he's got, Avonte Maddox, whoever's in the slot for them. This is just, it's going to be an ugly slate. But there's money to be won. So if you're going to play it, it might as well be you that wins. I got a couple of lineups in. I'm going to play the Millionaire Maker. I am playing less this week than I normally play this week. I'm playing as much Rainmakers as I can play because that's been free money. Get your Thanksgiving nap in early. Yes, exactly. But if y'all don't have any more questions, we'll just move on to the next video on the stream. Look out for 5 for 5 tomorrow morning on Saturday morning. And then I will be live on Twitch for the Anti-Tinkercast 45 minutes before kickoff on Sunday. So thank you guys for watching. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.